I didn't want to live anymore. That was it for me. I was planning what I wanted to do and when I wanted to do it. The first Kristen in my journey to Islam is why I even become religious. I come from a family which is not religious at all. They are Christians, but we have never been focusing on religion at all, so that makes it more absurd that I suddenly converted to Islam. The reason why I suddenly became religious was because I was having a really hard time. 2 years before I converted, I was in a relationship where there was psychological violence and in the end physical violence too. So in that period I also found out that I got the mental disease bipolar, and after the traumatic experience with my ex-boyfriend, I also got PTSD. I struggle with my psyche, my ex-boyfriend, and the feeling of not wanting to live anymore. I did everything to try to get better. Among those things, I moved to a smaller town where I could try to find myself again. However, it didn't work out, and New Year's Eve 2021 to 2022 I didn't want to live anymore. That was it for me. I was planning what I wanted to do and when I wanted to do it. So I chose to go to the hairdresser before it all happened, and I met this amazing woman. She was a convert to Islam, and she told me how she felt about the religion, and I thought it was beautiful. She was just a normal Danish girl on the outside, but on the inside she was so different. When I came home, I chose to seek more information about Islam, even though I had many prejudices. The first thing I searched for was hatred of women and terror. And when I started reading about it, I was shocked. It was the completely opposite of what I thought. Woman in Islam is this beautiful, valuable person who is been taken care of and who has their own rights. And it was a peaceful religion with so much love to their God. As soon as I read those things, I started having this weird feeling in my body. I have never felt like this before. I couldn't stop reading about Islam, and I suddenly got answers to why all these bad things had happened to me, and I got some hope for life. There was a lot of thoughts going around in my head. It will be impossible for me to convert to Islam because I thought my family will turn their back to me, and I couldn't let that happen. But I just wanted to talk to someone about my feelings about Islam and all my thoughts about it. So I contacted a Danish Instagram profile called Islam Guide and told them about how I felt. And there was this guy, he was not even hesitating with helping me, and they sent me 5 books, and I just started reading about Islam. I fell more and more in love with Islam, and I was just reading and reading and reading, and yeah. Every day I searched for Google about a new topic that I could learn about in Islam. I suddenly understood why people were religious, because there is only one God. I know that for sure. It's not an illusion. There is a God, and He guided me towards Him, and He helped me, and He saved my life and gave me hope to live. Now I was at a point in my life where I believed everything I read about Islam. So there was just this big question. Do I see myself as a Christian, or do I see myself as a Muslim? Bring myself to say that I am a Muslim, because even though it's the only religion that makes sense to me, I began to think, what is it that makes me feel like I'm not 100% Muslim, and I realized it was connected to the fact that I didn't dare to tell anyone. I was afraid that they will convince me that I was sick again, or I was brainwashed, or something like that. Me and my mom always have had this strong bond to each other. I have always told her everything. My parents are divorced, but I mainly live with my mom and her husband and my older brother. One day I was talking to my mom on the phone, and suddenly I could feel the courage come to me. I was telling her that I thought about converting to Islam, and because it gave me answers to all the terrible things that had happened to me, and it gave me hope to live. Of course, she was shocked and came with all her prejudices, as I had also in the beginning. I was really surprised how much I knew about Islam. I could defend the religion, and it also made my mom say that she support me if it makes me happy, and ever since that day she have been supporting me, and her prejudices has been less and less. Now I could ask myself the question again, do I see myself as a Christian or as a Muslim? And this time I had no doubts. I see myself as a Muslim, alhamdulillah. So I stopped eating pork, and I tried to peel off that shell that I've been building up to take care of myself. I tried to treat other people better and talk nicer to people. I told my mom's husband about I converted, and my best friend, my brother, and my grandmother, and I was surprised how nice they took it. But of course they also knew what I've been through the last 2.5 years. Now you're probably thinking, what about my father? But for me it was impossible to tell him, because I knew he wouldn't understand.
Saat bulan Ramadan, ia tidak tahu cara merayakan berbuka puasa bersama. Kemudian ia mencoba mencari komunitas muslim di kotanya. Kemudian ia memutuskan bersyahadat di keesokan harinya.
So I moved back to the town I lived in before with a lot of new energy. Islam had made me feel better, get a more stable life, and I didn't have the thoughts about death anymore. We now entered the month of Ramadan 2022, and I felt so alone. I didn't know how to celebrate it at all. So I joined a Facebook group for Muslim girls in my city, and I saw a post about some girls meeting for iftar. So I contacted that girl. So I was so scared to go there because I have never talked to any Muslim sisters before. I arrived to her apartment and I felt so awkward. I didn't know how to interact with Muslims, but these girls were so kind. They invited me to other things and they learned me about Islam. So the girls asked me when I was ready to convert, but I didn't know if I was ready yet. And then one of the girls called Yasmin said to me, if you feel like a Muslim, then you might as well convert. No one expects you to be a perfect Muslim. It's a process. And after that, I was ready to say Shahada. My sister called Yasmin were making everything ready for me to convert to Islam. So the only thing I was thinking about is my mental, if I was mentally ready for it. So it was the day before I converted to Islam. I was at the gym and suddenly it hit me like a lightning that I needed to text my dad. I needed to tell him that I'm a Muslim. And he replied that we don't have to agree on everything and he will love me no matter what religion I have. And this was precisely 24 hours before I converted, so I was shocked when I found out. My sisters Yasmin, Khadija, Rana and Friede came with me to the masjid and I said Shahada.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Selamat bertemu kembali para netizen yang kami sayangi dan hormati. Pada channel ilmu kita kali ini kita akan membuat sebuah kajian ya. Mengapa belakangan ini kita melihat sebuah fenomena yang cukup dahsyat ya, yang dimana kita tidak akan pernah memikirkan ini beberapa tahun yang lalu ya. Ini akan mustahil, tapi ini sebuah fakta yang terjadi ya, berjubel-jubel ya. Remaja Kristen Eropa, Amerika, Inggris dan lain-lain yang memilih Islam sebagai agama dan meninggalkan agama mereka yang menuhankan Yesus. Ini nggak pernah kita bayangkan, saudara-saudara sekalian. Melihat begitu sejarah bahwa ajaran Kristen ini adalah berasal dari Eropa, dan memang mereka adalah penganut Kristen yang taat, penganut Kristen garis utama. Bahkan mereka lah yang membiayai perkembangan Kristen di seluruh permukaan dunia. Bahkan di Indonesia ya, mereka sangat banyak intervensi tentang perkembangan Kristen Indonesia. Tapi ini semua adalah kehendak yang maha kuasa, kehendak Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Ya, pada akhir-akhir ini ya, kita melihat sebuah fenomena yang begitu dahsyat. Banyaknya remaja Kristen yang memilih Islam daripada memilih agama lamanya. Apakah ini masuk akal? Tentu tidak. Tentu tidak, karena ya kita tahu bahwa Kristen di Indonesia ini juga amat membangga-banggakan terhadap Kristen Barat yang selama ini menjadi backing bagi kawan-kawan Kristen kita. Kita melihat ya, banyak orang Indonesia yang Kristen yang menyerang Islam justru lari ke Eropa, seperti Paul Jang, Saifuddin Ibrahim ya, kemudian dan yang lain-lain. Mereka berusaha menyerang Islam dari luar, tapi nyatanya saudara-saudara sekarang, hari ini terjawab sudah kehendak Allah. Ingat ini saudara-saudara sekalian ya, para pemirsa baik yang Kristen maupun yang Islam. Ingat, inilah agama kebenaran. Kalau Allah berkehendak, maka semua bisa terjadi. Kita tahu bahwa penyebaran Kristen di Indonesia adalah berlandaskan uang, dukungan materi. Ya, kita lihat banyak orang-orang Islam direkrut oleh Kristen-Kristen Eropa menjadi misionaris yang mereka andalkan. Seperti kita lihat Profesor Mu'nim Syirri ya, almarhum dan almarhum para sarjana lainnya. Mereka disekolahkan ke Inggris, mendapat gelar profesor, tapi otaknya dicuci. Mereka turun kembali untuk menyiarkan ajaran Kristen, melemahkan ajaran Islam, menguatkan ajaran Kristen. Inilah kekejian yang kita lihat selama ini. Namun kenyataannya saudara-saudara, tidak bisa. Inilah menunjukkan bahwa Islam adalah agama kebenaran, adalah agama yang diridhoi oleh Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Mari kita terus mendukung channel-channel seperti ini. Mari kita terus berdoa kepada Allah, kiranya segera mungkin Eropa, Amerika, Inggris dan lain sebagainya segera menjadi Islam. Biar kawan-kawan Kristen Indonesia sadar sesadar-sadarnya bahwa mereka selama ini telah dikadal-kadali. Oke saudara, demikian dulu daripada komentar kita hari ini. Semoga ini menjadi pencerahan bagi kita. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Jangan lupa like, subscribe, dan share serta komen. Kita menunggu.